Well, this is going to be the first time towing a large trailer long distance. Now, I've towed a small utility trailer with a generator. Total weight was maybe 500 or 600 pounds, roughly. But yesterday I picked up a Teardrop camper. Just gotta turn around here, and we're gonna see what the energy consumption is. Now I'm running in a dual motor Model S, a 90D. And we're going to see what cruising power consumption is on the freeway. Now, one thing I will note is if you're pulling anything other than a light utility trailer, disable range mode on a D-level vehicle, as if you have range mode on, it will use your front motor for most of your driving, actually almost everything. Start, stop, all that works unless you are flooring the vehicle. So, in interest of less stress on the smaller motors, specifically the small front motor, the idea is shut that range mode off, and then it will distribute the power usage. We don't know exactly how evenly, but more evenly between the front and rear motor. And especially if it's a slick road, it gives more traction. So right now we are just heading down Country Highway. I'm going to take a back road just because I'm still getting a feel for pulling with a larger trailer. This trailer, dry weight was supposed to be about 750 pounds. And I've towed much heavier than that with my old Nissan Cubicle. And it also has a 12-volt auxiliary battery, which I want to move from the front of the trailer to the rear in order to even the weight distribution out. I mean, it's still easily liftable to lift the tongue, so it's definitely 100 pounds or less tongue weight. The Torque Lift Central Eco Hitch was designed for 200 pounds tongue weight, or up to 200 pounds and 2,000 pound towing capacity. Let's see what else. It also has a aftermarket air conditioner in it. So those are two things adding a little extra weight. So I'd say we're at about 800 to 850 pounds now. Let's activate some autopilots. That's another thing I will be testing is how well Autopilot works, especially on the freeway. Now we all know the Model X was designed from the ground up to tow up to 5,000 pounds with the 20-inch tires, or 3,000 pounds if you have the 22 or 23-inch tires. I can't remember exactly, the Model S, technically, according to Tesla, was a do not tow with this vehicle warning in the owner's manual. Now, the motors in the Model S are exactly the same as the Model X. That includes both the small motors and the performance motors. So they are the same motors. Now, okay, let's bring up speed. Let's see, 45 speed limit. I'm gonna bring it up. Now, I'm not gonna trust Autopilot to bring me up to speed. It's a little too harsh on the acceleration, at least with an unfamiliar vehicle being towed behind me yet. Now, I've done excessive towing of my old 5,000 pound trailer with my truck, and the last time I towed with my old Model S, which was a single motor 60, it actually towed significantly better than my truck did. Okay, we're currently under Autopilot right now, but this really isn't a good test. This is lower speeds on a country highway, and it's doing a remarkable job. So anyways, Tesla Motor says do not tow. I'm believing, and a number of other people are believing, that was more or less due to the design of the frame and whatnot, and wasn't really designed to have a hitch attached, but the EcoLift hitch attaches very securely to the frame between the rear bumper and the frame. Very securely. I used mine constantly. I only towed long distance. I only towed once, more or less, with my old one, except for testing moving a log splitter the first time, basically 300 feet, and then I towed a generator on a utility trailer to its new owner, about 120 miles, and then a couple days later drove home 120 miles, and to that towed. Absolutely spectacular. So I'm thinking it was more or less the framing, because the motors, like I said, are identical to the Model X. So it should not be a motor-related issue. And if it is, Tesla still has some major bugs then to work out. Now, if this was my old 2013 60 kilowatt Model S, I wouldn't even be attempting this, considering I went through 5 of the old style, I went through 4 of the old style motors, and the 5th one was failing, or causing issues. And at that time, then I ended up trading the car back to Tesla towards my 90D. And so far, even noise level, the 90D's smaller motors have just been spectacular, and reports of motor issues have dropped significantly. And Vinny just passed out. So reports of motor issues on the smaller dual motors has dropped significantly, whereas the larger motors, and including the 85Ds and the 90Ds, P85Ds and the P90Ds, because those both use the first generation single motor, or first generation large rear single motor, for the performance motor, and then this new smaller motor for the front motor to get that extra acceleration. And those are the only ones that I'm seeing that are really having too many issues. There are a few bugs at the beginning with the smaller motors, but I mean that's virtually disappeared from the drivetrain issues. You'll still get one here or there, but nothing like it was original. And trust me, like I said, I've went through plenty. I mean, it's along the lines of like the old original contactor issue, which has been pretty much solved by Tesla as well. So, also with the dual motors, you have redundancy. If the rear motor fails, the front motor will continue to be able to drive the vehicle, only at significantly reduced power for safety reasons. Although, as far as my understanding is, if the front motor fails for some reason, then the vehicle will become inoperable, even if the rear motor is still functional, which I'm not sure if I understand why they would want to do that. I mean, if the rear motor is still fully functional, hey, let it limp you off to the side of the road. But that's a discussion for a whole nother time. Now, I will cover later a little device I made. Now, the Model S is not capable of having trailer lights attached to it, or the hitch wiring, because basically, and I discussed this at length with a couple different Rangers that I had the luxury of talking to for a good amount of time while they were doing certain work on my old car. And basically what the problem is with the Model S at this time is there's sensors on everything. Now the Model X has designated trailer wiring, but the Model S, you'd have to tap into the existing harness, and if you draw more current than what the car deems as what it was designed for, then it will basically disconnect and throw warnings and whatnot, and now you got some problems. I'm taking this at 30 miles an hour. Right now I'm drawing, I've got the new energy meter, so it's hard to judge. It doesn't have as many numbers as the old ones did. Like I said, this is my first time getting on the freeway with the trailer, with this trailer, so I'm just going to take it easy. really not drawing too much yet. Okay, we're at 60. And I mean, it's feeling pretty comfortable. There's a little bit of bumpiness. Anyways, talking about the lights, I made a special box that bypasses the car, but unfortunately it's manual. It does not tie in with the vehicle's lighting system at all, or power system, except for the 12-volt accessory outlet inside the car. Basically what it does is it plugs into that 12-volt accessory outlet, and the box has a number of controls on brake lights, turn signal, and running lights. So, like if you're braking, you'd have running lights. You'd have to manually turn on the running lights, and then brake lights. When you're braking, you'd have to flip the little switch on for the brake lights. When you're off the brake, then you'd have to flip the little the switch off, and turn signal. Eventually, it'll have the clicker, so it will go click, 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 click. So all you have to do is flip the switch on, and the turn signal will continue to flash on the trailer. But at the time being, it would be manual. I'd have to keep flipping the switch on and off. I unfortunately chose a electrical box to build this in that was a little bit too small to fit the flasher in. So I'm going to look for more of a solid state flasher instead of an old relay flasher. I can feel a little bit of tug now at 65. I'm going to put the cruise on right now and just see how it does with the cruise. Power consumption is a little on the higher end. And we're also going uphill right now. I wish they would have left more numbers on the power consumption graph, or the dial. So you can tell a little better. But power spikes so far, that's pretty much normal for the road that I was just on. That big spike there, it was a huge hill we just drove up. Something else to keep in mind, especially if you're someone that uses a lot of regen braking, which is pretty much every Model S owner, is it's going to regen for a much longer time. I got to turn the vent on. I'm roasting. Just a little speed. You know what? This is a great time to test out Autopilot. So, Autopilot's on. It's centered in the road. And I'm actually doing about 5 under the speed limit, 10 slower than I'd usually be going. I usually do 5 over, so the speed limit's now 70 in Wisconsin, so I would be doing 75. You know, comfortable, a little extra speed. I mean, I usually do this, the current drive is usually 2 hours long, so I mean, it's at 5 miles an hour more, that's almost 9 minutes quicker I arrive at my destination, roughly. Now, we will be stopping at the Madison Supercharger, especially since this is all unfamiliar. I don't know exactly how much more power consumption I will be seeing. Now, when I towed that generator, mind you, it was pretty much a big giant square on a utility trailer. And while it was lighter, the teardrop is much more streamlined for the airflow, but it's heavier. So I mean, there's 2 trade-offs, which is kind of also the same reason why a motorcycle with a tiny engine still might only get 30 or 40 miles per gallon when we have cars that get the same thing. It's because of bad airflow and streamlined design. Let's see. I was only seeing about a 70 watt per mile increase in power consumption with the utility trailer and generator. Let's see how much further we have to go. Alright, we have 43 miles and 38 minutes to the destination. I'm not going to keep the camera rolling the whole time. I'm just covering my initial points and whatnot. We're still doing 65, and the car, at least with all these hills, once we get a little further, that levels out quite a bit, which I would really like to see what that power consumption will be at that time. Sheriff. Good, he's not following me, so my trailer lights must still be working. Trailer light box. Orange means running light, red means brake, and just the little metal switches turn signals. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Hold steering wheel, okay. Common. For right now, energy consumption mirroring, I mean, considering that we're going up and down these huge, huge hills, energy consumption's mirroring about what I'd see with it 10 degrees or lower outside with the heat blasting, trying to keep us from freezing. So far it doesn't seem to be much more than that. And once again, I will state that I have range mode turned on. Or excuse me, turned off. I might see, I suppose once you're up to cruising speed, you could probably switch range mode back on again and disable the rear motor. It's more or less the stop and go is where it would put more stress on that front motor and its associated hardware. So now we're still going uphill slightly, but this is much more level. Now, the Model X Tesla requires the smart air suspension for towing. I've said it in the past, I am not a fan of air suspension, and I've towed with air suspension too, and even then I was really not a fan. The only thing that I really liked about having air suspension when towing is the ability to raise and lower a vehicle for those so equipped, to make for a heavier load, make the suspension a little stiffer, give you a little more control. Otherwise, I'm talking I've done maybe 90 or 100,000 miles pulling a 5,000 pound trailer on my old 02 Xterra, which that trailer, even though the truck had a 5,000 pound towing capacity, that trailer for a long distance and the amount of miles that I've done with it, that vehicle was extremely underpowered for that. But it did its job, and it did it diligently, and that had just good old spring suspension, and it handled like a dream, at least until I bent one of the axles in an accident. It never did quite handle the same again, but it still does a great job. Still have that vehicle sitting in my parents' driveway. And we're doing uphill again. We got 33 miles to destination for the Madison Supercharger. And rated projected range is 47 miles. Rated range left on the dash shows 93 miles. So these hills, combination of the hills and the trailer, are really killing our speed, our power. And considering I'm doing below the speed limit, whereas I'd usually be running, with it being 71 degrees out and no air or heat on or anything, I just have the vent. I'd normally be running about, well, at least in my old car now, the 90D is more efficient than the old 60 or 85 single motor vehicle. I would normally be running at about 290 watts per mile or less. We're currently averaging 503, which, like I said, is about the same as normal driving with it 10 degrees or less out with heat blasting. Let's try this. I'm going to disable, once again, we've been on autopilot for the last, I don't know, 15 minutes. So it's doing fairly well. I'm going to bring her up to 75, my 5 over. Struggling slightly to hit that 75. Right now it's the wind resistance, that drag of the trailer, which is what was holding us back. And I'm going to try and catch up with that semi-head. That was one trick that I always used with my old truck and trailer, because I'd have it filled with crates that were covered in cardboard, surrounding cardboard, and there were motorcycle crates. And running behind a semi would drop, or would increase my miles per gallon by about 4. I had a scan gauge in my old Xterra. I still do, like I said, it's still in there. So I used a scan gauge. And like I said, after 90 to 100,000 miles of driving, I mean, you get to know your vehicle pretty well. I think it's definitely not designed for that abuse. Of course, the Honda Element just put in front of us. But anyways, going behind a semi would increase the miles per gallon, and also you could noticeably tell the engine was working a lot less stressfully, or not as hard. And we're catching up with this semi slowly. We're at 583 watts per mile. This road here is pretty level, so we'll see if it drops down at all. I'm going to leave range mode off yet, just to see what the difference is when we come up with the semi. And here's where traffic-aware cruise control plus autopilot really shines. Once we get a little closer, right now, TACC and autopilot is going to reduce our speed to match the semis, and it'll keep us matching the semis, which for drafting is excellent. Half the problem with drafting is if you use your cruise control, then you're constantly manually adjusting it up and down, up and down, up and down, and that will actually eat away at your miles per gallon. And if you're doing it manually, just using your foot on the accelerator to gently raise and lower your speed, that works better, but it gets extremely fatiguing. And if you're not paying attention and the semi slams on the brakes or something, you could be in a very bad accident situation. Traffic-aware cruise control, at least on the Model S, does such a smooth job of raising and lowering the speeds. It is absolutely amazing for drafting a semi. We're drafting a semi now. Now we did slow down a little bit. We were doing 75, now we're back down to 65 now that we caught up with the vehicle. You can see power consumption drop there. The first big drop on the right was going downhill. The second drop on the right was slowing down to match the semi speed. And now you can see it's starting to curve off there a little bit. It'd be cool if Tesla put a little meter on. I mean, we've got plenty of screen space, or screen real estate, I should say, on either both the center screen or the dash screen, for it to be able to show, okay, we're doing uphill again, how much power is going to each motor, or which motor is currently active or deactive. I mean, come on. Those of us buying the Model S are mostly, at least still at this time, are mostly techno freaks to some degree. We want to know this stuff. I mean, even the shitty Volt has more readout information than the Model S does. I mean, that's half the reason why people are hacking in and backdooring into the Model S systems, is so we can get more information. It's not to change things, it's just to get more information. We want to know what's going on in the background. Still drafting. Oh, I'm drafting at the maximum distance of 7. Without a trailer, I have gone as much as 3, a setting of 3, when I was really hurting for that extra couple miles range out of the vehicle. And it makes a difference, but don't get too close. The benefit with the Autopilot and TACC doing all this, all the hard work for the drafting, is its reaction speed is... reaction speed is virtually instant for slowing down if the vehicle in front of you slams on the brakes, much faster than any human could react, which is major benefit. Of course, there's still, you know, a minimum stopping distance. So if you're set to 1 and you're riding up a semi's ass, and all of a sudden that slams on the brakes, someone's getting pulled over. This area right here is known for speed traps. Thank you, Waze. Alright, now this is very flat right here. Too bad, I wish the resolution on this was a little higher and would update at a faster frequency. When it looks at the dash screen, it looks like I'm using maybe 25, maybe 30 kilowatts. Well, the average for the last 5 miles now has dropped to 442. So we dropped over 100 watts per mile. And now the semi's moving. We're going to move over. Let's see how Autopilot does changing lanes with a trailer. Now you got to be really diligent, because Autopilot can't see, you know, a vehicle that might be next to your trailer. And now I do know of people who have purchased teardrop trailers. Retro Ride Teardrops in Plover, Wisconsin makes some beautiful teardrop trailers, all handcrafted, high end, and you can get them for under $5,000. Unfortunately, and they are Tesla friendly, very streamlined, aluminum, everything, and it's beautiful. In fact, that was what I would have preferred to purchase. Instead, I bought a little guy. I did a little bartering, voice trading. You got, like I always say, you guys know I don't pay full price for anything. I work at trying to get prices down on everything before purchase. Big hill, just so you know. So I got a really awesome deal. I'll talk about it another time, because I'm going to be making some mods to this teardrop trailer here. Some modifications, and both style, looks. I'm going to put a giant Tesla logo across the back. I'm going to have to theme, so if anybody has any ideas for a theme for my teardrop Tesla road trips that I will be doing, please share with me. And we're actually doing a bit of an uphill yet right now. We're going uphill, but power consumption, we're at 41 miles. Still averaging 460 watts per mile here. Wisconsin, while it might look flat, it definitely is not. It's actually very hilly. We don't have too many mountains, but we do have a lot of hills. absolutely spectacular. That was a big concern I had, both with the S and the X, with towing is, does Autopilot handle towing? My concern was, we have 4 rear-facing sensors. Or was it 5, 6, was it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12, plus radar. I think it was 12 total. So 6 in the rear, 6 forward, plus the forward radar. We're leveling off. We're on a level surface now. We're dropped to 454 watts per mile. 456. Let's crank on. Alright, now we're running on range mode. Let's see if we have any drop in it now. But my concern always was, what does the car sense from the rear? And so far my discovery is, at least the direct rear-facing sensors, not the side sensors, but the ones facing directly backward. Now, when I was backing up, my sensors saw the trailer, no problem whatsoever. However, I'm getting no notifications whatsoever that there's something behind me while I'm forward. So that's leading me to believe that the rear sensors are disabled when driving in drive and moving forward, or in drive at all, which is a good idea. Then you're not throwing off warnings that there's something behind you. You really don't need warnings behind you, because the sonars are short range, maybe a 10-foot range. So if someone's going to come up to rear-end you from behind, for the most part, by the time the sonar alerts you to it, they've already hit you. I mean, there's really not much you're going to do about it. So that was a very good thing for the Autopilot, and being able to use Autopilot and tow a trailer at the same time. Because if you're doing a 7,000-mile road trip, that's going to get tiring. I've done it pulling a trailer before, and at least with my truck, I couldn't use cruise control with my truck while towing a larger trailer, because the additional stress it put on everything, the transmission would keep seeking up and down, up and down, up and down, which is why you're supposed to turn off overdrive. But with overdrive off, my miles per gallon pulling a trailer, oops, got to hold this touch, wants to make sure I'm still paying attention. My miles per gallon towing a trailer would reduce from about 15 on average, not drafting of course, down to 10, because it would lock into third gear and stay there with overdrive off. Maybe I chose the wrong time to shut off range mode. We're going up a really, really long, it's not steep, but it's a long hill. So that's killing my curve right now for the whatever it's called, the averages. The hill, and there's also going to be some construction up about 9 miles ahead, if you guys didn't see the road sign. We got about 17 minutes to the Supercharger, so I might as well, as long as my camera doesn't overheat. I've been having a few troubles. Sony had precision camera repair. I think it was in Ohio, fixed my camera. I kept getting buffer underruns. and they sent it back, and it's still broken. Still getting buffer underruns, and I think it might be a heat issue because my camera's starting to overheat, and it's real strange. It's something new that just kind of started and popped up, so I know it's not. I mean, I've done long recordings with this camera before. I've done a full 64 gig memory card non-stop during the summer, hot summer, so I know that's not a problem. And I've tried a number of different memory cards. We're doing more uphill. Come on, we need some nice flat road to test. Switch hands for a moment here. My right hand's getting a little sore holding this thing. Both midgets are out cold. Bit breezy out here. Autopilot's still doing an excellent job. Those who say Autopilot is not ready for prime time, and I've been reading that around. Or those of you that are disappointed with it, I will say that anybody who purchased a Model X, and now, like I said, that one was designed from the ground up for towing, I will say will not be disappointed. I really, really wish I would have been able to swing that Founders Edition X for myself. I mean, I would have been able to pull a regular full-size tractor trailer instead of just a teardrop, and all the awesome videos I'd be making for you guys. Me and my boys would have been all over the U.S. Probably would have did some trips into Canada, and maybe even tried hitting Alaska once. But I suppose I could still do it with the S, but I'd be a little more afraid to take this outside of a available service, radius of a service center of some sort. I gotta check the bearings on that trailer too. The gentleman I bought it from, this seems like brand new practically. It's a 08. These trailers usually sell for about 10 grand. I'll cover it all in another, walk around video as I start doing mods to it. The trailer is an 08, and it's just brand spanking new. This guy's had, the guy I got it from is a second owner. He got it from another gentleman that just used it once a year for 3 years to go to the big aviation expo in Oshkosh, Wisconsin every summer. Not too far from where I am right now. Maybe an hour drive northeast from here. Energy consumption, because we're very flat now. We're at 450 watts per mile. And it seems to be, it's hovering right around there. I'm going to turn off range mode again. See if it shoots up, because we got a little bit yet of this flat road. It did shoot up. How about that? See that little spike there in the corner? Yep. It went up slightly. And now we're going to be going downhill again. So it did shoot up slightly with range mode off. I think, well, we already know, range mode would shine the most. The motor, it's called, for those that are unfamiliar, so I get a lot of new people, and with so many people ordering the Model 3, I know we're going to get a wave of new viewers now. And what range mode does on a dual motor car is it disables the rear motor when you're at a cruising speed and the vehicle does not need the power. It shines the most on the performance models, because the performance models have that big honking performance motor in the rear. So basically it'll disable that motor, and they say the re-engagement of that motor is imperceivable if you have to slam on the accelerator. But I noticed on my 90D, which has got the two smaller motors, that it still favors the front motor considerably with range mode on. Going uphill again. The camera's getting real hot now. Wow. I hope to make this one continuous video. Don't mind, I'm going to kick on night mode. The problem is with night mode, see, it's got some infrared LEDs, but it also amplifies the light. Suppose I'm going to have to cover up those LEDs one of these days with a piece of electric tape. Those infrared LEDs, come on, focus, there we go. Those infrared LEDs can get really bright. Over there. Semi just slowed down to 60. At 50 miles rated range. We have a 9.9 miles to the Supercharger in Madison. And my projected range is 41 miles now at this point. Remember, projected range is an estimated range based on current energy consumption. A lot of people get confused thinking rated range is the power, the estimated range based on current energy consumption. That is incorrect. Oof, that's a bright one. Oof. Oh wow. A lot of these officers don't realize that there's actually a night mode on their light bars, LED light bars, and they keep their daytime mode on all the time. They think, oh, it's better for visibility. Because I've talked to a few officers about that. I know a lot of good ones around my city and village, and they said, well, we keep it on for more visibility of oncoming cars. The problem is, at night, with night mode off on those light bars, they get so bright they actually can severely blind and hamper the vision of oncoming traffic or approaching traffic. Alright, we are now in a construction zone. I may have to take over. Now the car on its own performed flawless through the construction zone the last time I was through here. Handled the rather large at the time lane shift. Now, it might be different now, but we'll see what happens. But considering that Autopilot also sees the semi in front of us, it's going to attempt, while it still sees the lines, it's going to follow the lines first, but it uses the semi as or a vehicle in front of you as an aid. Now, if the lines were to disappear, it would then lock onto the vehicle in front of you and follow that vehicle as precisely as possible. Okay, a few bumps, a little bit of wavering, but it's doing excellent. I almost have to say that Autopilot with the trailer is smoother than without. And the reason I say that is Autopilot can get a little squirrely. Some of us call it ping-ponging back and forth between the lines as it's seeking to find center. Even though it knows that it's not in the center of the lane, it ping-pongs back and forth and even displays it on its own projection on the screen. Now, because of the trailer, it kind of dampens the side-to-side motion slightly, and instead of it swerving significantly back and forth, it does so at a lower speed, allowing it to center more quickly. I don't know a better way of explaining it. It's 10 p.m. I'm a little fatigued. It was a great day today. I mean, it's April. A week ago we had hail and snow, and once again, this is Wisconsin weather for you. Today was 85 degrees. A week ago it was 20 degrees. So, gotta love Wisconsin. Oh no, this isn't it. This is Windsor, Wisconsin. There's an A&W coming up. A&W Root Beer. Excellent place to stop off and have a good root beer. Nice clean restaurant. Newly, not renovated, but mildly remodeled and extremely cleaned up. And just a great place to stop and have a good root beer and maybe a sandwich. This is exit, I'm not sure, coming from this direction, exit 131. Madison, next 4 exits. It's good, we're getting close. There's the A&W right there. They're closed at this hour on a Sunday. That bump was a little rough, but cars stay. This is perfect. This is really, really impressive. Now, because this was my first long drive. I mean, the only drive I did previously was I don't know if anybody knows where Ho Chunk Casino in Wisconsin, Dells, Wisconsin is, but bought this from a gentleman that was keeping it in his aircraft hangar, and he just never used it. His kid used it a few times, and that was it, mostly for the grandkids just to play in when they visited. But it was from the Dells Baraboo Airport was where it was parked, and I basically drove it back to my parents' motel at the Sandrift Resort, Wisconsin, Dells, Wisconsin, where we'll be shortly holding our 3rd annual Tesla and electric vehicle get-together. Everybody's welcome, and thumbs down to everybody who skipped out last year because they thought it was going to rain all day. I mean, it cleared up, the sun came out, and we had an absolute blast. So much fun. You guys enjoy. I know a lot of my viewers enjoy. My viewers you guys either enjoy or absolutely hate these nice little long driving videos like this. But I'm hoping a lot of people will take something back from this. And now that this has been a much more even road, flat road, you can see energy consumption is down to 379. It was lower, but now we're going uphill again. And a downhill. Projected range of 23 miles. And we have 3.9 miles to our destination. I'm going to get a nice good supercharge because the last leg of our trip, and I won't be doing a full record of that. I won't have enough camera battery, hold steering wheel. Let's make sure I'm paying attention. It's been a while since it asked me. The latest firmware. Latest firmware 2.16.17. I did notice some good changes in behavior of Autopilot. It did do a lot better locked into my lane. Also, it didn't nag nearly as much as the previous version did on grabbing your steering wheel. Pretty even road right now. 388 watts per mile. Projected range 33 miles. Oh, I never finished my statement about rated range, projected range, and ideal range. Okay, ideal range is the absolute best range that in ideal conditions on for freeway nonstop driving, which is generally considered 70 degrees out at 55 miles per hour, no heat or air conditioning on. Rated range is the rating that EPA has given a vehicle. So for my 90D, my rated range, my EPA rated range would be 294 miles per charge. Oh, I wonder how many miles do I got? 2,772. So we'll have our 3,000 mile range update coming soon. All right. I'm going to be disengaging Autopilot now. I'm taking over. What a difference! I mean, I can tell just with my regular by steering manually that that the thing's back there. It's amazing how much less fatigue running with that autopilot. Even pulling the trailer. I mean, it was already awesome without the trailer, but with the trailer. Now, hopefully there'll be nobody at the Supercharger because Madison only has 3 stalls, and pull-in space will not allow me to pull in with the trailer, as I will be blocking the parking lot vehicle thoroughfare, so I'll have to park sideways. If there's any other cars there, I will have to brain fart here. I will have to disconnect the trailer. Now, usually this off-ramp, because it's such a long one, I actually could autopilot the off-ramp. I'm not going to risk it, especially with my kids in the car. There's no reason to. I mean, it does a perfect job on this off-ramp. So energy consumption was a little higher than I was hoping. Definitely do not do this with your 60 kilowatt battery pack or your 70 if you're going to be anywhere away from decent solid charging. Now I'm going to remove my foot from the accelerator. We have a red light coming up. Now I have full unrestricted regen. That was pretty good. That was very good. It actually stopped me a lot quicker than I was expecting. I didn't want to come to a full stop. Object in motion likes to stay in motion. Object at rest wants to stay at rest. So rather than starting from a dead stop, try and get a little bit of a rolling start when that light changed. And even though I have my magic little box here for the trailer lights, I did try my turn signal switch, and that was not working properly. I must have miswired something or disconnected it. I started doing a full build video on that box, but I hadn't done any towing at all since building it, so I haven't really tested out its wiring. Now the trailer lights, I had to disconnect a bunch of 5 and 10 watt running light bulbs on the trailer because I don't want to overload. It's a long wire run going all the way back from the trailer up to the driver compartment here, and then connecting from that box down to the cigarette light outlet, and it's all 12 volt DC. I didn't want to overload and blow any fuses. Now my box is fused. And you don't have to run it off the vehicle too. If you have like one of those portable jump boxes, that was actually my intention. But basically what I'm going to be doing once I get home, I should have brought the bulbs with me, but I have lots of direct plug and play replacement. There is a Model S there. Darn. Oh, he's in the pull-in slot, so I might be able to get away with it. I'm going to be replacing all possible bulbs that I can on the trailer's wiring, the trailer lighting, with LEDs for reduced power consumption. So it looks like I'll definitely have to go to a solid state flasher, electronic flasher, instead of resistive like I have right now. And I'm actually using one from, because I used to be a motorcycle and scooter dealer, and half my income is YouTube, the other half is selling scooter and motorcycle parts online. And we got a beautiful 70D license plate Electrek. Let's see. Let me put the camera down. Shut off my trailer lights. once I get those LEDs on there, it'll be a big difference.
Go back. He-Man Auto. Yeah. Watch your YouTube.
Yeah, well, I'm going to have a whole new series of videos coming.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, you want to be on one of my videos?
No, not really.
Oh.
I
Technically, no. If you don't want to be in one of the videos, just give me a few seconds here.
Okay.
We did have Electrek here, charging. I did take up less space than I thought. I guess it seemed longer than I was planning, but the Supercharger whip, surprisingly, was actually long enough to reach the car. And I unfortunately will be blocking an extra space, which, I mean, this isn't something where you leave your vehicle unaccompanied if you're going to be blocking a space. So obviously, I'm not going to be an ass and walk away, but I'll stay with the vehicle. Of course, it's late. Mall's closed except for Buffalo Wild Wings, but the kids are sleeping, so that's a whole other story. And it fit. Car's charging. Midgets are sleeping, so I'm going to close the door so I don't wake them up. Otherwise, that was a successful ride. Now I got a good idea of what the energy consumption is going to be, and I guess now I'll try not drafting the semi, make sure I have more than enough to make it home, and see what energy consumption is at a good solid 75. Leaving Madison Supercharger now with 290 miles of range. Wasn't planning on staying this long. The kids were sleeping most of the time, and that other gentleman at the Supercharger apparently is one of my viewers, and we had an awesome conversation. So we spent a long time chatting, and before you know it, an hour went by relatively quickly. I'm not going to have the camera running the whole time now. I don't have enough battery or memory on my camera to do so, at least not on my 4K camera at the moment. So I will update when I get home if I find anything specific, as well as what my general watts per mile were and any major things that went on. But I have a feeling it's going to be pretty much along the lines of my initial drive, which I was very impressed with. It went really well. So I will update you all in just a little while. New phone mount. You guys can see the review on that. It is magnetic, and because I have the cord attached, let's just disconnect that. Well, arrived home. Of course, I'm back in the car again, and I got home 5 days ago. Today's Friday. I got home Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days. Approaching warp speed. So, made it home. No problems towing the trailer. I had originally planned, of course, it was always planned, but whether or not plans go through or not is an entirely different story. Apparently Autopilot doesn't like when you go warp speed. Let's forget Autopilot. Wow, the 90D gets to 120 really freaking quick. So, made it home, no problems with the towing, but I made a little discovery, and now you guys got to see some of my power consumption between the Wisconsin Dells and the Madison Supercharger. Unfortunately, my 4K camera just sucks way too much memory card and battery to be able to make the whole trip on that at that time on camera. Plus, my arm was tired. I didn't have a setup for my tripod again. But I made a little discovery the next day. next morning, I should say, Monday morning, I noticed my tires were looking a little flat. I cut too much off. I can't stroke it anymore. Darn it. Well, I checked my tires, and now, mind you, I bought the Teardrop on Saturday, aired it up before I left the place where I bought it, or the location where I bought it, and had it up to 43 psi, 42, 43 on both tires. And the spare as well. As long as I was doing it, why not just do them all? Well, Monday morning they were 15 psi. I'm thinking, could they have been this low the entire trip? Now, I did park the trailer inside my garage, so I know nobody tampered with the trailer Sunday night. So I aired up the tires. Now, once again, this is Friday afternoon. It's actually 7 p.m. I can't even say afternoon. Vinny, it's past your bedtime. Holy kid. That's right. So I aired up the tires again Monday morning, all of them, all three, two drive trailer tires plus the spare, and so far they've all held perfect. I'm thinking somebody, because I parked it out in front of my parents' motel, and I also noticed one of my car tires was about 10 pounds lower, or I should say low enough where it was considerably different than my other tires, but not low enough to trip there's a cop, to trip the tire pressure warning. So, aired them up, they held all week. Aired up my tire on my car that was low, and it's also held all week. And with the new sensors, I can check the pressure from inside the car. And so far, they're all holding spot on. Just checking right now. I'm thinking I'm at 51 psi exact all the way around after freeway driving heat up. I'm thinking someone might have let some air out of the tires. Now, if I was about 15 psi all the way home on the freeway, 15 psi is really freaking flat. I'm thinking I lost a considerable amount of power driving at 15 psi. I'm gonna bet that I probably could have shaved off quite a bit more. Holy crap! At 75 miles an hour, I've averaged 269 watts per mile over the last 30 miles. Not bad. No trailer today. Just me, Vinny, Gino, Model S, and the Wisconsin countryside. And kind of switched over. I'm on my old 1080p cam because my Sony 4K crapped out yet again. So, did some modifications to the travel trailer. I'm going to have a whole segment just talking about that, what changes I've done to it, because me and the boys, we're going to have some fun this summer. We're going to visit some awesome destinations and want to include you guys with us. So, that's about it. The power consumption was, on the last leg of the journey home, was between about 450 and 550, depending on the sections of the freeway I was on and how the elevation, so on and so forth. Christmas. I need a nap. Almost dozed off a few times with Autopilot running. Man. And whatever the latest version is, it does not ding, 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 ding as much as it did before. And it's doing a considerably better job on lane keeping. You know, let's move on, because people who are behind are just going way too slow. Oh, and we're at our exit already. How about that? So that's pretty much all I can say right now is power consumption was a little higher than I had expected on the way home last weekend. But after seeing 15 and 16 psi in my tires, and like I said, it also included the spare. So someone, in fact, had to have let air out of my tires. I'll know for sure when I get home again Sunday night. I haven't seen one of those old Toyota vans in a long time. I'll know for sure Sunday night if the tires are low again. Once again, it's in my driveway. I mean, in my garage. Exit. So, swimming! You love swimming. Autopilot the off-ramp. Yes, I like swimming. So, lots more adventure to come, and we're just going to have a grand old time, and I'm hoping some of my viewers and friends would like to meet us at certain destinations, and we can have just a grand old time camping, or just have a nice little party. Who knows? But either way, let's enjoy ourselves. I mean, life's too short. Let's enjoy ourselves, explore, and learn. And, well, I've already pushed the limits of the Model S previously. New Model S, new limits to push. Adios. Smile, cheese.